It's been in the news today that the government are proposing reforms to the family mediation service, and I'm here today with Kirstie Law, who's one of our expert mediators.
So I think these reforms are interesting because what the government is really trying to do is put pressure on people to go to mediation. And as a mediator, I would very much emphasise it should be a voluntary process. It's far more likely to work if people have chosen to do it. Having said that, there are a lot of people who don't really understand what mediation is, are worried about it because they think they won't be able to get their point of view across. They feel that the other person is better experienced at negotiation. And sometimes I see people in that position, and actually we settle things in mediation and they're very positive about it. So I think it's good to encourage everybody to try mediation, but you've got to recognise it's a voluntary process, and for some people they might try it and say, this really isn't for me. It may be too difficult. The marriage may recently have ended, there may be someone else involved, and emotions may be running too high to be able to sit in a room with the other person. We do offer something called shuttle mediation, where people can be in separate rooms and even separate video calls. I have done very difficult mediations where there have been historic abuse allegations in 2 separate WhatsApp video calls, so I go between the 2. So there are ways round those sorts of issues, but it definitely isn't something for everyone. But I think it's helpful that the government is encouraging it, because I think there are some people who go through the court process, spend tens of thousands of pounds, and would have saved significant sums had they been able to resolve it through mediation, and would have been able to. It's also really encouraging that the government is extending the voucher scheme. They're offering £500 until 2025 for couples that want to try mediation, and I think that gives people a really real incentive to give it a go and see if it might work for them. So I think that's positive news. What's less so is at the moment it's still not being extended to those without children, and I do feel the children may be adults and they still don't get it. It may be a child that's not yet born, where parents want to agree the arrangements for contact following the child's birth, and that isn't an option at the moment. The voucher scheme doesn't cover people who don't have children under 18, so I would welcome that being altered, and including for people that aren't expecting a child or don't have adult children. I think everyone should be encouraged to go to mediation, so I hope the government extends the scheme to cover all who are looking to try and resolve things without spending tens of thousands of pounds through the court process. And bear in mind, there's also significant delay if you go through the court process, so it must be better to give mediation a go, even if it's running in parallel. You can have the court timetable, you can be waiting for a hearing in 3 or 4 months' time, and just come along and see if mediation might work for you. If it doesn't, what have you lost? The government have paid the costs of the mediation sessions. You will have to pay for an initial consultation, often referred to as a MIAM, but the fee for that is significantly less than the court fee, so it's definitely worth trying.
Thank you, Kirstie. We'll wait to see what happens.